sometimes we check up on SNL to make sure they're still not funny.
And they're still not funny.
They're still not funny. But in this sense, they are like very just satanic, like unnecessarily satanic. Okay, so this was an SNL skit from this past weekend.
When you lie about a birthday at Brindley's, you must pay the ultimate price. Sin! 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 Sin!
Right? Okay, funny premise. Okay, if you lie about your birthday to get a free dessert, you know, you'll be reprimanded, right? If that were just the premise, okay, great. But this goes on way, way, way too long. So long with so many details. You have to be like, okay, something else is going on here.
Behold the summoner! Behold Lamashtu!
Like this isn't funny. It's like so specifically icky, satanic.
That's the actual real name of a Mesopotamian god that harms children and newborns, and it's about eating their bodies, their blood, and causing disease.
He curses pregnant women so that the baby will be born like premature, so that he can consume them faster.
So it goes on and on and on and on.
It's horrible.
And like, drink from the thing, and it's like they put blood on her, and it's like, okay, this is so past the point of like possibly being funny. She like spits out like,
please send someone to the hospital.
Like, oh, someone asks like, oh, where's the bathroom? And she's like, oh, that way.
We couldn't find the right bathroom. We got rid of it.
And it's like so, it's like way too much.
Yeah, it doesn't end. And so this like particular one, they were, I think, trying to go for like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom vibe with that, where the guy, you know,
with
like
the heart
out the heart and stuff. And it's at least that's what I think they were trying to do. It was very poorly done. But there's like, if you actually if you know anything about satanic rituals, not from Hollywood, but like if you ever listen to specifically exorcists who have had to deal with stuff like this, the blood pouring from the mouth and the eyes, and the names of like the names that they use are real, the chants are semi-accurate. Like, this was legitimately a half a step away from being an actual
ritual, right?
Yeah.
Which is what like so from what I understand from somebody who had been trafficked, they actually do the real thing in many movies, in many skits, or in arenas. Like, do you remember the Travis Scott thing that happened?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was an example. And there was a lot of people that, like, kids went missing. It was a very, very dangerous night.
Wow. And then you look at the comments like, oh, the conspiracy theorists are going to have a field day. And you're like, conspiracy theory, it's happening. Like, there's no reason to go this far with this many specifics.
I mean, the names, like, this is...
And it's not funny at all.
It isn't funny. It's not, it's not funny. It's, they're
just trying to normalize it. I think
they are. They're trying to normalize it, and like I think they're preying upon people who are weak, who need Jesus in their lives, and the people who are like, I don't know, maybe they hate their parents, they're in a bad place in their lives. Like, I think they just put this stuff out there to see like, ooh, maybe this will appeal to some people that are having a weak moment in life.
They want to create a new movement. use
Like-
whatever ground they can take.
The sad part
Yeah.
is it becomes addictive. I had to stop having people on my channel because I used to interview former Satanists and different things, just because I like looking at the opposite side, because it's very convicting for, doing the right things and being ethical and, loving goodness. But there's a point where people start craving it, like it's a dopamine hit. They want to know more and more about this dark stuff. And so I just stopped it. I felt like it was taking people down the road the other way, the way this might to somebody.
Yeah, it's like Satan gets his little meat hooks in, and then for the
Right.
people that it does appeal to, like, ooh, I am curious. Like, it might start out as a curiosity, but then it just leads to
Then you want to know, and it's a
learning
rabbit
more.
trail. And why did this happen? And then next thing you know,
You're
and
in it.
there's this guy named Summer Montague, and he interpreted the witch's hammer, which is a very, very crazy medieval times book that was written by these priests that were going around and doing the witch trials, and they had a papal bull to kill people, and it was crazy. But this guy, Summer Montague, he started out just like looking at it and like interpreting it. Well, then he became obsessed with it, and to the point that even his epitaph on his gravestone said, "Tell me strange things." And so I like to warn people, like, be careful. Like, your interest in understanding it can bring you into having an appetite for it. And there's a difference between wanting to be educated and having it whetted your appetite.
Yeah, well said.
So a lot of people, like a lot of people look at it too. It's sort of like people who have a dirty house will watch hoarders. Like their house is dirty, but it's not as
I
bad
love
as
hoarders.
right? But there are
They go,
are
at least I'm not
people-
that bad.
Yes, exactly. So you'll have people with dirty houses will watch hoarders, and it's called comparative minimalization. And
Ooh.
so
It's why I watch 600-Pound Life.
They need an extremist. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I know I'm heavy, but I'm not that, like, I'm not that
Right.
fat. Like, I'm not actually fat. I'm not actually dirty. And then you have people who watch this. Well, I'm a sinner, but I don't do this. Like,
Mukbangs, right? All of it.
And it's wild, because if you ever actually listen to exorcists, it's first of all, there are very few exorcists who make it longer than like 3 or 4 years, because it's so grueling and demanding, and there is a huge, there's books and podcasts out about it. The Vatican has official notices out on it, because you have to be a very specific and special type of person to be you have to, it's a vocation that a priest can do, or that certain ordained
Right, you need an
deity can
old
do.
priest and a young
I
priest.
think it's a
Yeah,
calling. Like, you almost
it
have to be
is.
anointed for it, because I have
You
a
have to be
friend who I've
picked.
done I have a playlist of like 30 videos with her, and she goes in and saves bloodline family children out and delivers them. But what she goes through is such an unbelievable process. And
Yeah.
they're basically pulling them off the Kabbalah tree, and
Wow.
it's very complex, and there's MK Ultra involved, and it's wild.
It's
You have to really,
insane.
not only you have to be so like good if you're going to do that.
You got to be
because
humble. Well, it's
you're
like not even about being
so
good. You got to stay
vulnerable.
humble. Yeah, you have to stay humble, because if you don't, like, if you listen to these exorcists, the big one that always gets everybody is pride. Like, I'm so good, I will never get snagged by the demons, or like, they can't get to me because I have Jesus and I am so good.
Right.
And that's when they get you. And
Yep.
so you listen to these exorcists, and they're like, after a while, some of them get burnt out, because it's like, what's the point? Like, these demons just keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming and flooding all of these millions of people, because stuff like this. Now, people, so the thing about this stuff, the way that this is dangerous, is the exposure of it. People have like heard this name, now they're like, open to it or more susceptible to it, or like you said, Carmen, like they're more curious, so now they're going to start deep diving into it, and it starts to unlock door. It's interesting. There's an exorcist who was doing an interview, and he said that here's the problem, like when the reason that you shouldn't be like you don't actually have the power to call anything down from heaven. So the only thing that's going to be answering you is hell.
Wow.
You don't have the keys to heaven. Peter got the keys to heaven. So you don't have the keys to heaven. So the only doors you can unlock are the doors that something else wants out from the other side, and you don't have the power to shut those doors again. And like this exorcist was just going on.
Wow.
And it was like, gosh dang. And a lot of times they call it innocent fun, or it's a joke, or don't take it so seriously. They brush it off, and they have no idea what they're actually fucking with. So it's just wild. So stuff
true.
like this.
And it's such a slow process. And I was just looking, somebody said Al Pacino was an amazing devil. And that movie is such a perfect example of how slowly Satan will take you down.
Yep.
And that's why I have huge grace and mercy for anyone that's done dark things and they want to turn their life around, because it's so hard the deeper you go into evil.
Oh yeah.
And so they're very impressive people that have pulled themselves out of amazing, difficult situations. But of course, God is good.
Yes, absolutely. Amen.
Oh my God. Do I want to play this? Let's see. You're mentioning the Travis Scott thing. Fealty sent me footage. Travis Scott at Astro World singing like a demon, watching his fans die right in front of him as they beg him to stop the show.
Yeah, he didn't even stop it. That was crazy.
Terrible.
He's wearing a shirt with demons coming through a portal, using dead people as vehicles. This is live occult blood sacrifice ritual. Yeah, it's horrible. I'm not going to show that. I mean, you don't see anything graphic, but
it's like
that's
the
just
Guns N'
icky.
Roses.
Well, and did you see, Chrissy, when they went into the concert, they had a Moloch that they had to walk through the mouth of to get in?
Jeez,
yeah,
wow.
He didn't stop it. I've been at a concert where there's been people pushing people. I've been pushed.
That's
and then
scary.
I know the band, and when they don't stop it, it's like I've seen so many musicians. I respect them so much for just calling it out. If it's happening in the front row, they see something happen, they lock eyes. All they have to say is, "Hey, no pushing at my concert." Because if they want to play around with the idea and people get hurt, no real artist would want that to happen to somebody.
No, that was an example of somebody telling me that was for sure
just in general,
an actual ritual.
It is.
It
Well,
seems
it's
so specific.
From everything from like you have to pass through the demon's mouth to get into the concert. The songs that he's singing are very like they're laced with demonic names. They're laced with demonic incantations. And like people, and
like,
so
look at that.
Yep.
He should be deported.
It's
It's
insane. Someone actually when this happened, I was having a discussion with one of my friends who used to she wanted to be an actress, and she was like, girl, you have no idea what they like, the filth that they expect you to partake in. And I was like, I don't want to have any idea. But she was talking about how she thinks that there were actually like true either like previous exorcists on that used to be on like Disney's animation team or storyboard team and stuff like that, because she talks about like the Little Mermaid, the garden scene where it's all the lost souls that like they look like seaweed and they're attached to the ground for the sea witch because they sold their souls, and the Pinocchio scene where all of the boys, they go to an island.
Pinocchio in itself. Jordan
It-
Peterson does a great talk on that.
Does he?
Yeah, it's really good. He explains the whole thing. It's really, really bad.
She was telling me about how like those animators and those storytellers, they knew exactly what was going on around them, and they were like trying to warn parents and kids and stuff like that about just how sick and depraved it actually was. Like the child trafficking, the boys, the island, like this is decades old, and this is how long it's been going on.
Well, it's been going on since the beginning of time.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here, like when she's telling me this, you know, you're just like, bro, like these are that's the other thing too. It's almost like they can hide behind how unserious. It's like they're actors,
Right.
they're actresses. Like,
oh, it doesn't
like,
mean anything. It's just a
yeah.
sketch. It doesn't mean anything.
And then when
It's a
you
joke.
Yes, and then when you see it, you're just like, oh my god, like you can't unsee it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes you feel like bad inside. You're like,
Mhm.
oh, I can't ignore that.
Yeah. And it's crazy because before some of like my family or some of my friends became moms, they were like, oh my gosh, you're so strict about what they watch, you're so strict about what they read, like why don't you let them have sleepovers, why are you always at, like, why don't you do drop off play dates? And then a couple of them became moms and they were like, we totally get it.
Yep.
Like it absolutely just it's
to be so careful.
Yeah, like it's just, man alive, the amount of people who are gunning for the innocence of your children. It's horrifying. And they
like Chrissy was like, they wanted my placenta. No,
They didn't. I was like, no, you can't have my placenta. It's worth $50,000 to the hospital.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm keeping
Yeah.
it. It's
So
true. I like kids are I think closer to God in a
Yep.
sense.
100%
So
pure, beautiful.
you must be like a child in order to
It's a good kid.
Truly, you know, enter the kingdom of heaven, and with that awe, that wonder, that innocence, that trust, that faith. And it is wild to me that there are human beings. This is the other terrifying part. One of the scariest things that I ever heard an exorcist say was that sometimes that person isn't possessed. They are just like, they have their free will, and Satan doesn't need their demons to do anything because they're already doing everything for them. And it's like, well, that's horrifying that you know, there are human beings that are so vile and evil that aren't seeking redemption at all, that demons don't even fuck with them. Like, that's horrifying.
They're beyond, what's it called? A reprobate heart.
Yes.
Everyone has a shadow self. So like, and even you mentioned Jordan Peterson. I watched some of his stuff about the malevolence and stuff. It's very small percentage of people that are actually purely malevolent, like are completely
always a spectrum.
Have that they have no pureness of getting satisfaction of anything other than what they take from others, and to see the like where I feel like but evil, all of us have good and bad, and I feel like that's like the Democrats. They act like they're good. And then guess what? Because they act like they're good, we don't know who they are. But like, it's like Trump, he's got good, and then he's had things that offended people, where it's like he's both. He's, you know, a complete person. Like, he embraced his shadow self, where I feel like, yeah, these Democrats, oh, I'm a good boy. Well, you don't know that, right?
Yeah.
Amen.
No, yeah, it's again, it's that pride thing. Like, you can convince yourself of quite a bit.
Well, virtue, like that's the thing that they use as a shield to actually be mean. And to control.
Yep, absolutely. It's it is
Somebody gave you 53.68.
So specific. Thank you, Raider. Thank you for the $53.68.
Wow.
He does that all the time. That is his thing. That he does.
I love that.
His specific amounts. I love it. Thank you,
yes.
Raider. Thank you for the pink boy.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because you now have like a Christian population who is scared that if they offend somebody, it means that they're evil or they're bad. And that's not at all.
And that's
what
the
that means.
pastor's fault because they haven't taught them how to be in this world and
Yep.
have that strength and that agency. Be
Mm-hmm.
offended.
Yeah, that's why I even laminated it, so it's gonna stay okay.
You can get it wet now.
Forever. Be offended forever.
Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.